Today we're going to be going over the basics of the Move tool. In order to select the Move tool, simply go to the top of the toolbar and/or use the hotkey V to select it. The most basic form of the Move tool is to move a layer around the canvas. Also, you can select multiple layers by hitting Shift and clicking on the layer, and this will move all the layers selected around in unison. Additionally, you can select a full group folder and move all the layers within it around as one. And one more cool feature of the Move tool is that you can use it to select a layer, move it up to another tab, and into another image. That's it for the Move tool. You can find the lasso tool on the toolbar, along with the polygonal lasso tool and the magnetic lasso tool. But today we're just going to be going over the normal lasso tool, which can be accessed by using the hotkey L. In order to use it, simply click and hold and draw a selection, making the end point meet up with the starting point. And there you have marching ants showing your selection. Another thing to keep in mind is that as you draw your selection, if you let go in the middle of drawing, the end point will automatically draw a straight line to the starting point. If you want to add to your selection, simply hold down the Shift button and draw the selection you want to add. If you want to take away from the selection, hold down Alt and draw a selection of what you want to take away. Keep in mind that the normal lasso tool is completely dependent on where your mouse draws the line. For other helpful lasso tools, check out the polygonal lasso tool and the magnetic lasso tool. Today we're going to be going over the polygonal lasso tool. It can be found under the normal lasso tool by right-clicking and selecting it. It differs from the other lasso tools by having you select points of your selection. Another way to access it is to hold down Shift and hit the hotkey L for lasso to cycle through all the lasso tools. Once having the polygonal one selected, simply click on where you want to make your selections and click on each point for the border of your selections. In order to add to your selection, simply hold down the Shift button and make another selection, and it will automatically conjoin your selections. Again, for the last side here. If you accidentally make too big of a selection or select something you don't want, simply hold down the Alt button and make a selection around what you want to take away. For a more advanced form of the lasso tool, check out the magnetic lasso tool. Today we're going to be going over the magnetic lasso tool, which can be found under the lasso tool icon by right-clicking on it and going to the magnetic one. This one differs from the other two by automatically aligning itself to similar colors. Another way to access it is to hold down Shift and hit the hotkey L for lasso to cycle through all the lasso tools. Once you have the magnetic lasso tool selected, you can begin making your selection by just clicking once and guiding it around the path you want. It will automatically attach itself to the similar colors to make it much easier than the normal lasso tool. The normal lasso tool will follow your cursor exactly. This one will follow it pretty closely, but then automatically align itself up to give you a good selection. Sometimes it'll give little bumps in there like that one. And you can touch those ones up in there afterwards using your knowledge of the polygonal lasso tool and the normal one. Once you've finally gone all the way around, you can make your selection illustrated by the marching ants. You can do anything you want with this, and now you can move it around or do many other things you want to do with it using the tools you can learn about. Going over the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool can be found on the toolbar. It might be hidden under the Magic Wand tool. In that case, just right-click and then hit the Quick Selection tool. You can also select it by hitting W, the hotkey. Once you have it, you can change the size of it, or the hardness, or the spacing. Or you can also change the size of it by hitting the bracket keys on your keyboard to make it smaller or bigger. This size will be good for what we're doing today, which is trying to make a quick selection of the logo on my high school football helmet. Just guide it around where you want it to select, and it'll automatically select based upon the colors. I promise that that cereal box in the corner is not an attempt at product placement, just happened to be behind the helmet when I took a picture of it. Now that we have the logo selected, you can do many things with it. For instance, you can use the Move tool to move it around to a different part of the image, or you can move it into a whole new document. Another cool thing to do with it is to go back to the Quick Selection tool, right-click anywhere on the screen, hit Select Inverse. That'll free you up to use a brush or any other tool to black out or white out or whatever else you want to the rest of the background, and leave your logo there all by itself. The only thing left to do now is to deselect it by either going to Select, Deselect, or hitting the hotkey Control-D or Command-D on a Mac to get rid of the marching ants. That's it for the Quick Selection tool. We're going to be going over the Magic Wand tool. You can find it under the Quick Selection tool by right-clicking the Quick Selection tool and hitting the Magic Wand tool. Or you can use the hotkey W to select it. Also, you can hold down the Shift key and tap W to cycle through the selection tools between the Quick Selection and the Magic Wand. In order to use the Magic Wand tool, simply click on an area you want to select. It'll magically make a selection based on colors. If you want to add to the selection, hit Shift and click on what you want to add. I'll just select all the grass here in the image. If you want to take away from a selection, like this dirt they got in the selection, hit Alt and click. Now that you have a selection, there are many things you can do with it, but one example is to mess with the colors. You can make the grass a little more green, or you can go all out and make it a shade of blue. But however you want to work with it, know that the Magic Wand tool is always there to help you make a selection. We're going to be going over the Marquee tool. The Marquee tool can be found by going to the top of the toolbar or using the hotkey M. To get to the elliptical Marquee tool, either right-click and go to the elliptical, or hold down Shift and press M to cycle through the other Marquee tool options. The elliptical Marquee tool can make a selection, like this photo of me pretending to be the local weatherman. The rectangular Marquee tool will make a selection in a rectangle. If you want to make sure your selection is a square, hold down the Shift key, and no matter where your cursor is, it'll always be a square shape. If you want to start your selection in the middle, hold down Alt and your selection will be made from the middle. Or if you want to do both, hold down Shift and Alt and it'll be made from the middle and maintain a square shape. If you want to add to your selection, hold down Shift and make another selection, and you can even conjoin them using the same Shift button. In order to subtract from your selection, hold down Alt and make a selection over what you want to take away. A practical use for the Marquee tool is to use it to make sure you're only editing within the selected area, like coloring in between the lines. Well, that's it for the Marquee tool.